Greetings, I am Lies.
And I'm Scandal.
And
let's play a game together. Yes,
Let us continue on with this experience of why is this so much different than everything else we've done so far?
Yes, and whoa, we really are just going to spend a whole day
on that side.
Yep, and not touching anything else.
And also not necessarily, restoring this to diorama status, just, remaking it to whatever. Kind of vague, whatever.
Restoring it to probably what Philip would be like. You need to return it to what it was.
I would hope, but also like this area right here next to Lily
is terrible.
It needs attention. So as much as you're going, oh look, we're done. It's like, yeah, you're not done. You know what? Holly's umbrella is in the problem area.
Pretty much. So
so what?
What did he say?
Oh my God, child, I didn't eavesdrop, so you know it is now your job to inform me. Next time I'll need to eavesdrop again.
I guess I thought I could respect you for 5 seconds, but you know what, Lily? There you are, always embarrassing me and always disappointing me. Here we are.
He didn't give me a straight answer. Like always.
That slippery old eel. I know he's hiding something.
My brain. I know he's nibbling something.
Honestly, that would be sort of charming. Excuse me. Sort of charming and hilarious in that way that Holly would go to that level of descriptive in regards to Philip of being like, he's super nibbly, bitch. He just hides away in his little hole, Lily.
Munches on things.
Are you really describing? Wow.
Wait, what? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Dyslexia. Interesting trip combined with predictive reading to compensate for it.
Right.
All right. If you're going to be buzzing in my ear, at least plant some flowers with me, please. Except for she wasn't. You literally walked over to her, and then she said, well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't her buzzing in your ear. It was you concluding a phone call and walking up to your mom. So I'm going to put this one on you, Lily. I really am. Like, you walked towards her, dear.
I mean, and you didn't have to engage with her. That is an option. Walking towards her might have been, I need to go over here and work on this area, and you happen to be there.
I suppose.
Fine.
All right. We are going to deal with it.
Oh, good.
Finally. Look at the little rock stack.
That's...
What's with the weird base that separates it from the whole world?
I don't understand. I'm like, honestly, okay, so I have to complain about something. Everything is now going, it all says Route 66. Do you realize this is from Route 66 and this is Route 66? Welcome to Route 66.
We'll have a sign at the beginning. We'll have a sign on the road. We'll have a giant sign after the bus stop.
And I'm actually getting kind of annoyed, going like, are you trying to create a diorama or are you just trying to create sort of a weird, like... here's my altar to this experience rather than, a recreation of when we met and got involved kind of thing.
I'm kind of for the cactus flower because it's kind of adorable.
I like the cactus flower.
And this one, the base doesn't make sense to me. And also, all these aren't air plants, so growing them on rocks is not going to work. They actually do need soil.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not.
Those cactus actually need soil. So we're going to do this.
Be kind to your cacti, please.
Again, I still love the idea of Lily just having to use magic to just sort of bring in this incredibly large, incredibly spiky cactus safely, and then, put it there, because otherwise you'd need, giant canvas protective clothing and like a support sling to not crush the, spines.
Right. Honestly, I still want a story about a plant warlock, like a gardener warlock.
Yes.
I think that would be cool as hell and sounds really awesome.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I planted flowers. Are you happy?
Sure.
I suppose.
I mean, yes, completely happy. It has solved our entire relationship history, all of our current struggles, and my unfulfilled childhood. 100%. I'm good.
Boink.
That wasn't sarcastic either.
Great! Now press him harder! He's like 1,000 years old! You can handle him!
Mom.
I really do. I know you don't believe it, and it was actually just a thing I was listening to, but I really do think they are trying to fix Lily and Holly's relationship. And it's a level of frustration that I have in regards to people just going, you just need to put up with basically parents or people, because that is what they are. These are people who are abusive, manipulative, and extremely draining, and literally offer you no benefit.
People who have contributed nothing to you, but nonetheless have had a space in your life. Not necessarily do, but have had a space in your life. Deserve forgiveness and redemption arcs and reconnection to you, even if they don't stop hurting you.
Yep.
Is a lie, and you don't have to deal with it. You do not have to function there. Also, I'd be like, Mom, He's not even twice your age.
Yeah, no kidding.
He told me I have to worry about actually inheriting before anything else. And he's right. Eel or not. Smacks Mom with an eel.
Despite the fact that I called you a fucking Muppet.
Despite the fact that I called him a Muppet. Yep. Yeah. For reasons.
I mean, considering that her mom calls him an eel and she calls him it's just like, it just sounds like cycles of abuse and basically cycles of language. Like, it is a thing to realize that people will do that. Now, I always think it's really funny because I'd be like, you probably would not be able to tell me, with my parents because I swear way more than my parents do. To be honest.
I still am really just looking at Holly's, little dialogue model here going, your tits should cover the top of your belt buckle. They really
appreciate
should.
Your fixation. It's okay.
And the only reason is because it doesn't match the other model. Like in another game, in Doki Doki Literature Club, I've literally been like too much emphasis on the tits. But it's clearly here, and this is a type of like supported, containing scaffolding
waist
cinching on the inside, supportive, garment that nonetheless has a shelf experience for her tits in her 3D model. They should just lean in instead of creating that Victorian, bodice pull down. Just go with the shelf and cover the edge of the belt.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Anyway, eel or not? You haven't been super polite to him either, but I mean, he has been an asshole to you, but like someone behaving poorly towards you doesn't excuse you behaving poorly towards them, even as their behavior is not excused.
Yes.
All right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now help me get these plants picked out or go lay down.
You can tell them that they need to stop talking to you like that and that they're done. Mm-hmm. Like, either you be polite to me or we're done.
Yes.
Like that, like, you don't have to sink to their level. You can just be like, if this is the conversation we're going to have, we're not going to continue having this conversation then, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're done. Bye. The latter does sound pretty tempting.
I mean, since nothing's designed for your shoes,
it
could be.
And also the fact that you're really not helping anyway. She's like, I planted flowers. I'm like, all the other models got involved. This one does not. I feel like her mom really did just stand there.
Yep, you didn't even wiggle your hands. You didn't do any magical casting of movement. It's fine.
Nope, not at all.
Oh, hang on. You almost watched off the edge, Lily. Lily, you just almost walked into a crevice. Into the ground.
Lily likes to live on the edge.
Just help me finish these plants up, would you? Are we actually going to remove the crappy old fence and clean something up?
That would be
what?
Wild. I'm not engaging with this charade or charade, because that's how people...
Charade!
This charade any further.
So, you actually are going to go lay down.
This is all bunk, Lily. So if you don't know what...
You should be able to inherit regardless of the law, or of a will, or of anything else. Just lawyer up and change the world, Lily, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. All bunk. And if you don't know what bunk means, it really is just, it's all crap.
It's all shit.
It is all, yeah.
It's a different way to say shit.
Yes.
It's bunk.
It's bunk.
Plants are real and strong, and they're my friends, Mom. Better friends than you.
Honestly, like...
That line doesn't work for me, except that it supports our, patron god Warlock extremely, extremely well.
Yes.
Like, it really supports our imaginary headcanon for this whole story so hard, of her going, plants are real and strong, and they're my friends, Mom, patron god. Yes, thank you. We are valid. Excuse you.
Excuse you.
Ground politely swallows Mom. Deposits her at the front of the property.
Pop.
Yes, her.
Hi.
Excuse me. I'm gonna go lie down. You should.
You should. Goodbye.
All right.
You know I don't mean the plants.
You meant me. You meant you're done with me and what I think. Speaking of, you're gonna fall in the edge, Lily.
Oh dear. What are we?
Oh.
Whoa!
We still really are just not touching this whole other section or side at all. Like, none of it.
Why?
That is so much.
And suddenly palm trees. Which, actually, I learned something cool, that apparently, I don't know how many species of palm tree do it, but apparently the palm tree family is actually just giant grass.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's a grass, the blade of grass.
Yeah, it's just giant blades of grass, and that's what they are.
And it's really cool. So if you know the way palm trees grow and how they do the layered leaves, and then all the broken off, pieces like the cool triangles and the roughness on their bark is the leaves breaking off. You can look at other species of grass and see how they grow in layers just like that out of the inside of each other. And so even the grass in your yard is going to have basically stalks growing out of the inside of the base and basically be like a different longer limbed palm tree.
Yep.
It's very, very cute.
It's kind of neat.
Okay, so everything is growing through her umbrella, and I kind of love that in the one little space.
That's fabulous.
Like your umbrella is toast, but I love these giant cactus over here, the long ones.
Yeah.
So we're doing this.
Sure. I am still just like, they were really like, Route 66 equals cacti, and I'm not saying that it didn't, but I'm having an issue going, I wanted us to recreate Route 66. I do not feel like this is Route 66. I am disappointed.
I am. I wanted us to actually recreate, the spot in the photo, wherever it was that you actually met. I wanted us to restore this place. I was excited for the game to go, I know we've done this dynamic one way the whole entire time, but guess what?
Except for a couple of key instances.
But we're going to now switch it up for another key instance. But this one will be a whole area. Like, I was excited to see and learn and do something different. And honestly, again, I am not believing these cactuses for a second. So other trees, you can actually get a giant, like, sort of earth-moving machine that will have this sort of, like, 3 or 4 like spiked cup experience. They can come down over the top of the tree, or come around the tree and then dig in and pull out the roots all in one giant bundle, then wrap it and move it. And it can do it with reasonably large trees, where it just sort of shovels into the ground and picks up the main taproot and a bunch of supporting roots, and then lifts it out and can put it into canvas to be wrapped and put on a truck. But you can't do that with cacti. They're too brittle. Like succulents, crack and snap apart really easily. So you can't do that. So if you are still arguing, let's forget the money and she goes to the store and gets this shit somewhere, there's no way to move plants of that size into this space.
Yeah. Again, the only reason it matters is because she's mentioned before suddenly going, the weight of this thing really matters. Suddenly this thing really matters. And you're like, you've been moving trees. Full ass fucking trees. Wait,
and again,
what?
If the game hadn't mentioned it, if it hadn't been, I'm bringing these in, I'm buying these are heavy, this is hard to move, let's get these pots over here and put the flowers in, then we could just go, not a game dynamic, not important, the plants are there. But they've made it important, so I'm gonna nitpick it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So much better, so much spikier. I just love when everything's really, really sharp, like so sharp that it will, discourage visitors.
Yes, perfect. Hi. You never listen to your mother.
About cactus?
Hi.
I mean, about I should stop restoring this place?
What?
I mean, you haven't talked to me in the last 10 years. When would I even have been able to listen?
I also have no reason to do so because just because you're my mom doesn't mean you give good advice. Yes. At all.
Additionally, I would actually like to talk about something here where there was a point at which I was dealing with a complex family situation and more adult minds gotten together. And it was sort of, this politely mediated friends and family kind of solving a discussion, disagreement kind of thing. And one person said to me, "You didn't listen." And one of my good friends of the family, came in and said, "Actually, it sounds like she did listen. She just didn't take your direction or advice." And I will say that a lot of people say, you didn't listen. And you might feel in that moment like, great, now I'm in trouble, things aren't okay. But you actually can come back and be like, actually, I did listen to you. And I weighed my choices and thought about what you said. And then I made my own decision.
Yes.
You were one of many pieces of information. And I didn't treat you like a singular authority. Instead, I thought and made a choice.
I took your advice under consideration. I decided based on my own priorities and interests that your idea wasn't one thing I wanted to do, so I did something else. And that is a thing that I have heard from bosses, from plenty of other people going, you didn't listen to me. You're like, yeah, I did. I totally did.
It's very important sometimes to let people know that, yes, you did listen, because you didn't listen is sort of it's a many layered insult with cultural implications. And it doesn't just mean you didn't listen. But I'm not able to break it down effectively right in this moment. But functionally, just coming back and being like, I did listen and I didn't choose to do what you said is a very good awareness piece. Even if you don't have to prove it to them or tell it to them, you can do that with yourself and be like, just because they say I didn't listen doesn't mean they're telling the truth at all.
Right. You know what also, though, bothers me? And again, I'm not saying that she can't do it, and I'm not saying that people can't have different reactions. It's just, to me, usually when I see someone where it's like, based off of the understanding we have with Lily, of Lily being very much an abused woman, and also her mom fitting very neatly into the pattern of, I am an abuser / controlling person, why Lily basically doesn't respond to her in the same way like she did with Blaine, or like with her own life situation of going, this is a woman she is clearly getting in her way in similar fashions. And I'm like, she seems really able to just ignore her mom, despite all her mother doing a thing where I've mentioned before, where people will be like, but it's your mom, it's your parent, right? And there's a serious amount of cultural weight that's shoved onto that basically social position where you're supposed to, no matter what, still be listening. And it's like Lily's able to resist that, air quotes.
Interestingly enough, like, I like what you're saying a lot, and I'm thinking about this and going, interestingly enough, I would tend to say that she is responding similarly to Blaine in that she hasn't kicked her mother out. But her mother isn't being as individually judgy as Blaine is. Blaine going, I don't get it. Is it a cat? Ah, yes, splinter chairs, that kind of thing. She's just going, your work is shit. There's no direct criticism to interact with. It's more vague, as well as even in reference to Blaine, where Lily might feel sad or frustrated because she still has this desire to want him to approve of her because she spent so long seeking his approval and having it being a value prospect for their relationship and her self-worth. She has spent way less time seeking her mother's approval and defining her self-worth by her. She has replaced, it seems in the way many young women do, a man's value for, validation for what would have been her mother's validation. And the one thing that Lily does seem empowered about, even as she didn't like Blaine's judgment or doesn't like her mom's judgment, is this idea of, I can do the garden and I'm going to.
Yeah.
And sometimes an abused or disempowered person does have one thing that they successfully latch onto and can then have good boundaries about it. And whether it's like protecting a friend, whether it's if they have a kid like their child themselves, or even if it's just like, I'm going to go to work on time for my scheduled job. That is the one boundary that I can connect to in such a way that you can't push me out of it. And it seems that the garden and finishing it is Lily's one successful boundary.
Right. Which is fine. Some people are really able to attach to somebody, and I say that's great. It's just recognizing that's what you're doing, and then being able to go, hey, why not extend that further beyond this one thing?
I do agree with you, though. There is some level of her mom is pushing in a lot, and where Lily isn't able to stand her ground sometimes could feel a little bit at odds.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I'm working from, at least going, the garden is sort of her safe place.
Yeah.
And where she feels like she's allowed to assert a boundary. And it might even just be because of the legal ramifications of things, of going, I've been legally told I have to do this, so you can't stop me. In the same way that for me, when I've wanted to leave abusive situations before, going to work was the only thing I felt I was allowed to use sometimes. Like, my mom would use illness. I'm too sick to do that. I'm too sick to even speak to you. And I would just use, it is time for my shift, so I'm walking away. And it doesn't matter how bad or how dangerous or how unfortunate or if I'm going to lose the relationship or there'll be consequences later, because that is when I have permission to leave because it's something outside of me. And in this case, the will is something outside of her.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to decide for yourself, but you can for someone else.
Yeah.
That's not healthy either, but sometimes, you do what you can.
Yep. You never listen to your mother.
A habit that's yet to steer me wrong.
Wow, that is a level of
Okay, now
confidence?
I'm on with you that sounds weird.
Yeah.
That sounds really weird because you've never really shown the kind of resistance and distance from your mother that she was showing from Aunt Mary. You've shown being jaded, you've shown being lonely, you've shown feeling neglected and ignored, but not I have never listened to you and I'm never going to. I haven't gotten any of that rebellious spirit from her at all. That sounds more like something that Holly would say about Mary.
Yeah, that's really unusual.
It doesn't...
Well, I love that great long thing, and then immediately, bam,
okay,
it's gone.
Maybe not. I had a theory, and it held so far, and
game theory.
Bye. This has been a game theory. A rock fact.
Hey!
Bye.
Wait.
So that was weird. Never mind.
That was incredibly strange.
So is Luke still here, or did he vanish off into the sunset somewhere?
He seems like he's gone now.
See? This is what it's all about. us facing the part that's not done in any way and appreciating that it's a huge ass amount of work and hasn't even been inventoried, addressed, or investigated in any way. That's long-term project management. Don't come in and look at the whole thing and make a good list of priorities and organization. Just start somewhere and plow through and then appreciate what isn't done yet. Wait, turn around. Mom, turn around. We should be looking at the other side.
Yeah, right.
This, behind us, is what it's all about, actually. Restoring the estate to its former glory.
Until I inevitably fall apart, and it falls apart in about 10 to 20 years, and then I don't take care of it, and then I put some arbitrary rules on somebody else.
And then I make it so someone else has to do all of this all over again after my health declines and I can't maintain any of these areas ever again or be bothered to, pay someone else to do it at all. It'll be fine.
Yep, perfect.
Restoring the estate to its former glory, which I know very little about and have vague childhood memories of.
Yay!
Parts of it.
Former glory?
Didn't I mention that, Kavit?
This place was built by one basically crazy person and one literally crazy person.
It can still be glorious. Crazy people can do glorious things, okay? And let's not use the term crazy anyway, right? People who have different mental and emotional experiences than you, that you don't approve of or agree with, can still do amazing things.
And also, in this case, she's just clearly trying to use it to dismiss.
It's
not a very valid... Yeah, absolutely.
It's intended to be the derogatory statement that it is.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations. Success. It looks like a theme park built by committee, Lily. None of this stuff goes together.
It doesn't have to. And in fact, when you have separate areas, they don't have to go together. In fact, one of the interesting things about rooms and landscapes and perhaps, even concept locations is that the separate pieces of them don't all have to match. If a museum had to all match, or who could ever have a man cave if the whole house had to look like that?
This is my man house.
Because, otherwise, your mouse. Yes! It's your mouse!
Yes!
It's not, so the she shed is apparently dealing with it appropriately because it takes it out of the house. And then it can be a different aesthetic.
It really has always bothered me about she sheds. So if you guys don't know what she sheds are, they're basically supposed to be the femme equivalent of the man cave. Except that she sheds are literally outside of the house, away from everyone else. While the man cave gets to be an experience in the house and take over part of the house, the main house, which is very...
So what it is basically your man cave concept, and if you don't know what these are, you can just look them up. They're very easy to define on the internet. And get a real clear... The pictures of them and the masculine and feminine ideals come through real good through imagery.
Yes.
Okay? But your man cave is a space in the house where it's just for the men stuff. Hanging out with the boys, doing dude things, having your guy space, even if it's guy space alone. And it can be in the house because you can have that space just for you. But a woman's is outside of the house because basically no one can respect her private space if it's in the house. So there's no way she could have girl space, woman space, her space in the house without men walking into it, friends walking into it, the kids walking into it because she's still mom, wife, whatever. Mm-hmm. So a she shed has to be literally removed from the house. And it's dealt with in an empowering kind of way. If I have my own space out here, sister, is a lot of how I've seen it.
Yeah.
There is this experience of going... It has to be out there. While I appreciate that you're owning it out there, it has to be because people aren't respecting your space.
Yep.
And you can't have, say, an art studio that no one walks into and plays with stuff, that dad keeps the kids out of, or that your friends keep the kids out of, or that your kids respect and stay out of conceptually. Doesn't mean you can't and your family can't, but that's the cultural thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Because obviously none of these things apply universally to all people. They're an archetype, they're a stereotype, but that stereotype exists because it's so common, and so many women resonated with the concept of a space for me out there that other people won't get into because everyone's getting into my space, that the she shed became a term and a concept that was identifiable and unified across many women.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Built by committee. None of this stuff goes together.
Anyway, it doesn't have to go together.
It really doesn't.
The reason you have different areas is because it doesn't have to go together.
Yeah, there's no point. Maybe the way it used to be isn't worth bringing back. Just a thought.
You seemed real invested in your castle for not wanting it all to come back, Mom.
Yeah. Well, she was important.
Can you please let me enjoy the results of my hard work about me with my choices, even for a second? You act like you want my attention or respect or to even consideration in any way, and you will not give me an iota of your own.
Bitch!
Why does she have a swirl on one side of her head and not on the other?
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Oh, he is still here.
Oh,
look at that.
Wow.
Oh. Woo.
Hey, I'm gonna head out.
Okay. Okay. I was hoping I could get rid of my mom and actually spend some time with just you, because that's how romantic interests work. You have to be alone to connect, don't you know? I mean, thank you for the help.
Yeah, sure. Later.
I know you have a thing going on that has to do with the phone call, but I'm not allowed to engage because of drawing out drama. I hope it goes well.
Also, the thing is that I'm supposed to believe this is about my mom. Clearly. That man just can't take the heat.
If he can't handle abuse from a woman, he's never going to be a proper man. Excuse you?
You.
That's what I'm hearing, and excuse you, by the way. Just shut up, Mom. I'm going to try real hard to defend my interests, and I don't have to listen to you, okay?
Completely, at all.
I'm going back to the house, and while I appreciate that you're staying in it, I don't have to share any space with you. So, peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Wow.
The loaded is
the
amazing.
house loads it.
Oh my God.
It loaded in just in time for her to sit down, so that was pretty good in my opinion. House going, oh wait, honey, I got you.
Hi, I'm here for you to sit on. Woo! All right, well, thank you very much, guys, then, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also please feel free to share our videos if you're having a good time with us. Also, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. Got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!